If you're watching this video, then I guess you're interested in doing a career as a general practitioner, and this is where it starts. It starts in year 9, and choosing science is a great basis to start your career in medicine.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm an AS student intending to do medicine. I'm taking biology, chemistry, maths and French, and I wanted to give you a quick talk about science and possibly the benefits of going into medicine. Why study science? Science is the study of how everything in the universe works, on a tiny molecular level, on a vast universal level, and everything in between. If you're a curious person, then science is great, because you only have to ask your teacher or go online, and you can find out anything from as simple as how does your hairdryer work, to as complicated as how does the human body fight infection. Science is how we know that a squid has a donut-shaped brain, which its esophagus runs through, and if it eats too much, its brain explodes. It's also how we know that you can make aspirin from willow bark or medications to treat heart problems from poisonous foxglove flowers. The further up you study the sciences, the more interesting they get. You only have to ask anyone studying A-level chemistry and they'll tell you that once all the pieces start to fit together, it's immensely satisfying. Even if you're not completely sure what you want to do later in life, if you enjoy the sciences, it's always worth continuing with them because you open options up to you. Science GCSEs and particularly A-levels will always look respectable when applying to higher education. I'd say for anyone planning to do medicine, probably the most important thing is to try and get an idea of how everything works. If you can get work experience, that's great. Give you a sort of a proper look into how things work. Definitely worth continuing with studies at school, make sure you get the grades, and then do the preparation for interview training and write a good personal statement. But even when you go to university, there's the opportunity to continue doing the things you love, if it's drama or sport or music. After those 5 years of university, you could do a further year to do a PhD, but most people go on to do 2 years of being a foundation doctor. Although it is a long career path, the rewards in the end are substantial.
During my GCSEs, I really enjoyed doing science subjects especially, and I was trying to find a career that I could go and do anything. I wouldn't be stuck in an office all day, tied to a desk, typing on a computer. I wanted something where I could go out, see the world, and medicine just sort of ticked all the boxes for me, and I'm really glad I chose it.
Enjoyed my sciences at school. I got to about 16 and was trying to think what I'm going to do once I leave. I ended up reading a story online. There was a bloke it was an online community for doctors. And a bloke had put a post up there saying thank you to everyone at one of the hospitals he'd been at, because today he'd been able to take his daughter to her first day of school. And that was thanks to the guys that managed to help her when she was born prematurely and her lungs weren't working. And I thought, yeah, if after 80 years or so I can look back and I can say I've done something like that, I could be happy with that.
It is really hard. You've gone from at 15, 16, when the rest of your friends are going out and having fun, you're working for your GCSEs and trying to get A's, and then you go to A-level and you're working for your A-levels to try and get A's, and then you get to medical school and you realise actually now the work starts, now I've got to get through medical school, and at the end of it you're going to be a doctor, and that is such a privileged job to do. Seeing patients, treating people, making people better, making a big difference in people's lives. I couldn't think of anything else more fulfilling.
I initially applied to do medicine when I was 17, but I didn't get the A-level grades that I needed. So then I did pharmacy, so I did that for 4 years, then worked for 1 year, and then I applied for medicine that way, because if you've already got a degree you can apply as a graduate. So I'm here now in my 4th year.
So we're 4th year now, so we've just got exams coming up, and then we have our final year and we'll sit our finals in March. And then after that you apply to the foundation programme, and that's a 2-year placement where you rotate around the different specialities that you kind of get to choose, and some of them you're placed in. So things like GP and A&E and cardiovascular.
I quite like GP actually, so we've been on this placement for only 3 weeks, but I've really enjoyed it. I like the fact that there's lots of variety.
It's really important that you think about doing sciences at A-level. Biology and chemistry are the most important and the ones that are most favoured by medical schools when they're looking for applicants. In your AS year, you need to start thinking about where you want to go to be a medical student and start doing some research about what the specifics are of what they require. Not all universities do medicine. There are a huge range of different types and styles of university. So do your research well, look at all the websites and try and visit as many of them as you possibly can to see which one suits you. The other things that universities look out for is whether you have shown any interest in the caring professions. So working in a GP surgery for a short while, observing what's going on can stand you in good stead. In Northamptonshire we have a local programme whereby GPs will take students for up to a week to sit in, sometimes on their surgeries, but often going out with people like district nurses and looking at the real variety that general practice has to offer. Or you might consider something as diverse as getting a job in a care home at the weekends or over the summer holidays.
I was a little bit of a poorly kid, so I had quite bad asthma and I had to see my GP really regularly actually. I probably saw him once a month for a lot of my younger years. Whenever I walked away from the GP, I felt better. So I think I liked that feeling and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to actually do that for other people? And then luckily I quite enjoyed my sciences at school and it kind of all just fell into place from there really. The advice I'd give to perhaps someone who's just sitting their GCSEs or someone about to do their A-levels and be looking at what university to go to and what course to do, I would definitely say pick medicine. Once you get over that threshold and get into medical school, you then have a really enjoyable time. So medical school is 5 years of being a student opposed to 3, and everyone knows how great it is being a student, and it truly is, and particularly in medical school, the bond you create with your colleagues binds you together, and some of the relationships you form on that first few days of medical school last you a lifetime. Although GP is a challenging job, GPs are generally quite well paid for the hours we work. We still pay into a good pension. Most of us aren't working weekends, so we still get that family life balance. And really, in what other job do you get to care for people from their very first moments of life to their very last?
You've got to do the sciences. When I was there for A-levels, you had to have chemistry. That was a requirement. The majority did biology, I think for quite obvious reasons. I actually did 4 A-levels. I did maths and history, and I did 5 AS levels with physics. I think you've obviously got to be very caring and empathetic with good listening skills, obviously, because you've got to get the symptoms from the patients and also gather that rapport.
So I stayed at the same school and did A-levels, did 2 sciences and did history. But I think once I kind of had my vision, knew what I wanted to do, I became a lot better student, you know, so I got good grades, and I did my work experience with my local GP. I really enjoyed that, you know, kind of seeing lots of patients. I think you have a really good autonomy in general practice, so you've got a lot of choices, I think. But no, I think it's a huge privilege still to be able to help people.
I was head for a career as a general physician, that's really what I wanted to do. And then I did my placement in a inner city GP surgery in London and absolutely loved it from the moment I went in. Thought this is my niche, this is what I'd want to do. I really appreciated the way that the GPs were looking after patients cradle to grave, literally, and saw so much and immediately changed my plans and never looked back.
If I was talking to my younger self about why I became a GP, my main motivation was to try to make a difference in people's lives, and I really feel that I can achieve that. I find it the most rewarding career, and I would really encourage anybody to come into general practice.
Being a doctor, it's a really good career choice. I chose it because it was something I was interested in. You have to have an inquisitive mind. I think that's really important, but actually it was more than that. It was more about being nosy. You know, I don't need to watch soap operas. They walk in through my consulting room every day. You know, it's fantastic. People tell you all sorts of things that you know, you're very privileged to have that part and that insight into their life. I did sciences, not because I'm some sort of boffin and I thought I was going to spend all my time in a lab, but I did have this idea that I perhaps wanted to do something in healthcare. It's an amazing sort of grounding for all sorts of careers. You look around at nature, you look around at anything, and you can guarantee that science is involved in it. So it's not just lab work. You can go out in the field, you can be in agriculture, you can be in technology. It's just a fantastic career that is applicable to anything. And if you've got a science degree, actually, apparently on average you earn about 30% more. So if you are interested in a career in medicine, then we can put you in contact with local GP surgeries where you can spend up to a week doing some work experience, finding out a bit more about the career, whether it even suits you, but hopefully it will, and we can put you into contact with people who'll stay interested in how you progress and hopefully give you links for later life and career opportunities.